Tony, let's say you get in. How long into the conversation, your speech before my name is mentioned when you make it to the Hall of Fame?
It should be fairly early, right behind Chuck Noll, Dan Rooney, and then Dan Patrick.
Am I in there before Peyton or after Peyton?
Oh, absolutely before Peyton.
All right.
Yes.
Coldest game you ever played in?
It actually wasn't the temperature so much, Dan. We played the AFC Championship game against the Houston Oilers, 1978. It was actually January of 79, playing in Three Rivers Stadium, about 26 degrees, but a cold rain throughout the game. It was AstroTurf. When you hit the turf, it was like just diving into ice water. And I've never been so cold in my life. We came out for warm-ups, and the Houston Oilers, Earl Campbell and that crew, they're warming up in jackets and big parkas and stuff. I said, we're going to the Super Bowl. There's no way these guys could play today. I think it was 33-6 we beat them.
Did you ever tackle Earl Campbell?
With a lot of help. Yeah, I jumped on the pile a couple times. But, yeah, he was something. His rookie year was my second year. We played him 3 times that year. He had a big day against us the first game. Second game, Donnie Shell hit him early in the game, cracked his rib, and he had to miss the rest of the game. That's the game that actually clinched home field for us. And then the third time we played him in the championship game, he wasn't really running. He was trying to stay warm.
Do you coach differently in cold weather?
You do. You think field position. You don't take as many chances. You realize that one play here or there. What cold weather does, it tightens things up. The team that has the best team is probably still going to win, but it's going to be a lot closer, and it takes a lot of the skill out of the game. And I remember being in college. This is going to be interesting for us on Sunday because Bud Grant, when I was in college, he was coaching the Vikings, and he was a stickler that you didn't acknowledge the cold. You had to go out there and function, and it was amazing. The guys that came up, Sammy White, coming up from Grambling, and guys who hadn't played in cold weather before. After a year or two of that, they understood that you can function in it. It's a mental thing, and you end up, that was their home field advantage for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for the Vikings this week.
But do you think it's a home field advantage because of the weather with Minnesota? We know it's home field advantage because they are at home, but is the weather beneficial to Minnesota?
I think it is because, they were the team that got handled in the first game. I think, especially in the passing game, Seattle has an advantage now, but that is going to be negated by cold weather and a lot of wind. So it comes down to defense and special teams, and I think that helps the Vikings.
Any surprises this weekend? You look at these matchups, what would surprise you the most?
It probably wouldn't surprise me, but it might surprise the country. The way Washington's playing and the way Green Bay's playing, I wouldn't be surprised to see Washington beat Green Bay, and I think a lot of people wouldn't bet on that. But Washington has played well the last 6 weeks. Green Bay is really struggling on offense to click, and I could see Washington winning that game.
Has Kirk Cousins played better than Aaron Rodgers?
He has the last 6 or 7 weeks, and I think that's because of the help that he has, the way things have flowed, the protection. Rodgers is much like, he's just, I think he's a victim of how people are playing them. Their outside receivers aren't really getting clearance, and he's not getting that great protection. So it makes it difficult, and they've struggled.
Talking to Tony Dungy from Football Night in America, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Brock Osweiler says he's a little disappointed, but he's a team player. Peyton Manning is going to get the start in a week. But I'm curious if you think Peyton Manning won this job or Brock Osweiler lost this job.
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, it was going to be Peyton's job if he was healthy, and I know people didn't look at it that way. Oh, look how he played early in the season. Well, they won 7 games in a row as poorly as he was playing. If he's back and healthy, and Gary Kubiak could see that in practice, hey, he's throwing the ball better than he did early in the season, you'd be crazy not to start Peyton Manning. Brock Osweiler played well. He gave them a lift. He did what he needed to do, but he's still a first-year quarterback going into the playoffs. So to me, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Lovie Smith gets fired over the phone. I know he's a good friend of yours. How shocked were you when you woke up in the morning and realized Lovie got fired?
I was a little shocked, but it's happened before. They've fired a coach who went to the playoffs 4 years out of 5. They fired a coach who went to the Super Bowl. So nothing kind of surprises me there. But just talking about where they were going, they had Jameis Winston, looked like a franchise quarterback. They were going in the right direction. They won 4 more games than the year before. You thought maybe they would just ride it out and it would go pretty well, but it wasn't the case.
Yeah, but it felt like there was an immediacy to it that we have to do this now.
Well, I think that something happened. There's a candidate that they're looking at that came available or that they talked to that they want, and that's why it was done on a Wednesday in the evening for sure.
The situation with the Browns where you bring in a baseball guy, Paul DePodesta, what can you see analytics playing a role here in football? Because that's what he's going to try to bring to the front office with the Cleveland Browns.
I'm not a big analytics guy, but I think you do take everything into consideration. I wouldn't want to be in a situation where analytics makes every call, but I think it's helpful, and it's been helpful in basketball. They're going to it now, and baseball has used it. I think it's a tool. So if someone brings a little something to the table that they didn't have, it can be useful. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think it's a good tool. I don't think it can be the end-all of all your decision-making.
There were 2 reports yesterday. John Gruden interested in the Eagles' job. John Gruden not interested in the Eagles' job. What's going on here?
I'm not sure. I think what happens is people, when you make changes like that are unexpected, like Lovie Smith here in Tampa and Chip Kelly in Philadelphia, then you are looking, you're searching, and you don't know exactly what you want, and so everything becomes in play. Philadelphia, they're in a division that's a winnable division. I'm not sure about their quarterback play. Tampa, you're in a division where, you've got a very good team in Carolina, but, not great teams in New Orleans and Atlanta, so it becomes an attractive division to be in. You've got the number 1 pick in the draft who played well last year at quarterback. To me, that's an exciting job. So there'll be a lot of people interested in that one. The question is, what does management want? And you have to make up your mind what you want. You and I have talked about this a lot. Dan Rooney, to me, has the formula for how to do this. He knows what he wants. I like young defensive coordinators. They might be a big name. They might not be. It doesn't matter to me. That's who I hire. They fit the personality of my team and my city. And then when we get them, we ride it out with them. We don't care what the public says. We don't care if they say Chuck who, Mike who. That's who we're hiring. And if they have a couple of bad years, we're sticking with them. All his coaches go to Super Bowls. He doesn't have to fire anybody. It's not a hard formula, but it comes down to knowing what you want and then sticking with it.
I can't see John Gruden coaching. Like, he's got a great job. I know ego plays a role, but he would be in the same division as his brother. I mean, look, we're all competitive.
I think that would be tough.
Yeah,
and you don't have the best quarterback in the division, so it's going to be hard to win year in and year out. It's going to be hard to win in the short term to win enough to get to a Super Bowl.
Terrell Owens, first ballot Hall of Famer?
I think he's a first ballot talent. I think a lot of people will be concerned about, when you play for 5 different teams, what is the problem? And then I saw with Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison, to me, is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. I watched him for 7 years, and there's nobody that knew his craft, executed his craft better. But it was kind of, okay, you've got to wait for Chris Carter and Andre Reed and Tim Brown, and that's kind of the pecking order. So I would be very disappointed if Terrell Owens went in before Marvin Harrison, just the way I've seen this play out.
I will see you this weekend.
Looking forward to it, buddy.
Thank you, Tone.
All right.
That's Tony Dungy, Football Night in America.